We've been looking at a more detailed look at the 60 characteristics of complex trauma, and I really hope it's been helping you understand yourself better, understand practical tools for getting healthier. Today we come to one that kind of carries over a little bit from last week, but it's new and needs to be looked at separately, and it's that people from complex trauma need distractions. I often say that one of the worst punishments that you can give a person with complex trauma is to put them in an empty room all by themselves with nothing to do. And they'll go crazy because they need to be distracted by doing something all the time. I want to begin a little differently and just look at the cause of this right up front. I think there's multiple things in complex trauma that set a person up to need distractions. But the main thing is, what does a child do when they have mainly negative emotions and they can't resolve them? They can't make them happy emotions. Nobody wants to live with predominantly negative emotions all the time. And so you need to be busy. You need to be distracted doing stuff so that you don't feel. And so one of the main reasons for needing distractions is it's a way of not feeling your emotions. Another way to look at that is what comes out of complex trauma is you feel in danger all the time, so you live with anxiety and fear all the time. And again, it's usually at a subconscious level. You're not even aware of that, and you're on eggshells, you're vigilant, you're always on guard. And as a result of that, you've got cortisol in the brain. And cortisol gives you the extra energy through adrenaline to fight or flight. But once you get cortisol and all that extra energy, you can't sit still. That energy's got to go out. And so what happens in complex trauma is you got cortisol happening all the time. And so sitting still is very hard to do because you got this energy to burn. And so you just have one distraction after another to keep you busy, to give you an outlet for all of that energy. Another aspect of complex trauma is shame. The child feels the reason I'm abandoned, abused, neglected is something's wrong with me. And so what happens out of that is I no longer like myself. I no longer want to have a relationship with myself because I think I'm a terrible person. And so the last thing I want to do is sit in my own skin. I'm not comfortable there. And so you need distraction so you don't have to live with yourself. You don't have to be comfortable in your own skin. And then there's another important piece. A key part of complex trauma is lack of connection. And so what produces a sense of well-being, stability, security, is being connected to a safe rock, to a safe person who's consistently nurturing, consistent boundaries. And so that person helps me to regulate my emotions, process my problems. They teach me, they comfort me, they help me. And so I get this feeling of calm and peace because my rock is always there for me. But what happens if a child tries to connect and they can't? All of a sudden, their world is very insecure. All of a sudden, they're on eggshells, on guard, and they can't sit still. They need distractions to use all of this energy from being on guard all the time. I found it interesting that the word tame, when we use it of animals, is a tame animal is an animal that has developed ties or connection with a human being. A wild animal is one that has no ties, no connection. And I think that can be kind of transferred to children. Children who make connections are tame. They're calm. Children who don't make connections are wild. They got all this feral energy that they want to use. And then another reason why we need distractions is that a child who's been neglected, can't connect, feels all alone against the big bad world. They feel like they've been abandoned. And so when you face a big bad world with only your tiny little toolkit, it creates all kinds of anxiety and insecurity, which creates cortisol, which creates energy that has to get used, so you need distractions.